Oh, there we go. Hello? Yes, it's working. Okay. This is very impromptu for me, but I am going to be doing a stream about Hazbin Hotel. I finished, I binged it over the last 4 or 5 days, and I am, if you see my description, I am, holy shit. This is probably the best cartoon I've seen since Avatar, The Last Airbender. Oh my god, I don't know where to start. This is gonna be very impromptu. I'm probably gonna do a better video later, laying out the things they got. Like where's that video? There's that video out there that does the things things great about certain things. That I'm gonna probably have to do one for Hazbin Hotel. Oh, I gotta get up here on Twitch. Hmm. So, let me do one thing. Let me see here. Come on, cat. Hey, where'd you go? Oh, just make sure my stream is working. Studio YouTube. Come on. Why does the internet hate me today? I like a plain background. Background. At the Wendigo. Yeah, it is. Come on. Okay. Record. Hey guys, it's Turek. And today I'm gonna be just randomly talking about Hazbin Hotel, which which came out recently. Um on Amazon Prime, and I binged it over the weekend. Finished it today, actually, which is Tuesday. And I must say, this is probably the best cartoon since Avatar. And I should make a caveat, because I think there are other good cartoons out there. I haven't watched many because I'm more into anime. But this is the best kind of adult, like, it's not just for kids. This cartoon is explicitly not for kids. It's all about adult stuff because it's humor and other stuff is not for anyone under like 18. I know other people under that will probably watch it, but like definitely you could say under certain other ages. I'm not gonna put an age out there because I'll be someone will quote me someday. Because I would have watched it probably. This is something I would have watched when I was definitely like barely a teenager, and I would be like, oh, this is awesome. This is really good because I've seen Hell of a Boss. It's sister cartoon by the same people, and that's also very good. And I'm only propping this up more so because it follows a point A to B story that has an ending that, for someone like me, is awesome because it follows a story that I would fall in line with because of like similarities to like epic fantasy novels. I'm not very good at like putting together the literature, but like the the story goes was something that seems at first like something that's just going to have episode to episode sitcom features. That's why this caught me off guard. I thought it was going to be kind of like a sitcom. The Hell of a Boss is kind of doing that, but at the same time, that has very good progression. I have to do a tangent. Most sitcoms never have any decent progression. It's like the least common denominator metaphor you could think of. Uh, Sometime during like the 80s, I've watched different sitcoms through the 80s, 90s, and close to now. I haven't watched anything much recent. You start seeing improvements with that kind of character growth in sitcoms, but it was still like just a sprinkle. Golden Girls was like the first one I saw that was pretty good with that, where like Dorothy, one of the main characters, is progression is moving on from this divorce with her husband, who's a sleazebag guy, but she still kind of loves him because they were together a long time, and he's not a total sleazebag, but he is a sleazebag. He's like he's almost the best, one of the best kind of sleazebag characters you could see. I could go into him all day, but then you had like actually, what was there in the 90s? I can't think of one. There was Two and a Half Men was something that I had high hopes for. I watched it right near where it was ending, and it had progression where the character Charlie, played by Charlie Sheen, was this extremely slutty douchebag who would just slut women all the time. But he starts slowly in some parts of the series getting better with uh, trying to have meaningful relationships, but they would like go two steps forward, one step back with that show. Oh yeah, that was right. I was thinking of Three's Company was another sitcom that was from the 70s through the 80s that was kind of meaningful, but did a similar. That one was even worse, really. That in some ways that was even similar and worse than Two and a Half Men, with this kind of one step, two steps forward, one step back kind of hello. Sorry, just saw your chat. Two steps forward, one step back kind of character growth. So when I went to Hazbin Hotel, I was expecting that kind of uh stuff. This I watched the pilot last week. Like, okay, it's got a good start. It's got this characters and stuff, but I saw hell of a let's do a little backtrack there. At Hell of a Boss, I started watching it shortly after it came out. Actually, I still don't think I actually seen the pilot episode. Shit. I watched all the other numbered episodes of Hell of a Boss. I binged the rest of them back in this past December because I just fell behind on them. And so each episode of Hell of a Boss had a more episodic stuff going on where every episode had different things happening. So they were following something that might feel more like your typical drama on like CBS or something, where there's a different central plot that the main characters have to go on a case or a job, but that was definitely by the second season that too got better with the character development. We saw a whole lot of stuff with Blitz, and I'm gonna be blanking on a lot of character names. Forgive me right now. I know who they are, but I'm terrible at remembering character names when I watch something. If I read it, I'm much better. So I have to usually rewatch it, and I'm pulling up here a thing with their names because I can't remember them right now in my first watch through. I'm catching so much other stuff, which is why I'm talking about this now too, because I just finished it this morning and I'm like, I have to talk about this now while it's fresh on my brain. Otherwise, I'll fuck up. And it's been a while since I've done something besides One Piece, and I was like, I have to do something different. I've been meaning to do that one anime, The Dangers in My Heart, for months now, and I keep putting it on the back burner. And like, I should have done that one back in June when I finished it, and now I'm mad at myself because it's saying that's why I'm doing this one now. So I watched this one, watched the pilot, and I'm like, wow, I guess I must have saw the Prime episode come out. Episodes were gonna come out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check out this pilot because I knew this was part of the same studio as Hell of a Boss. I've seen people use little memes with that one with the character Angel Dust a lot. I'm like, okay, this looks cool, but I had a feeling. So when I saw the stuff about this one, I thought this was going to be the off one that, um, I thought this was going to be a less serious one. I thought Hazbin with Hell of a Boss and how serious it was getting. I thought, oh, this will be the one. This Hazbin Hotel. This is probably the less serious one. I was totally fucking wrong. This is the kind of serious and jokey kind of show I've been waiting for. I can't say whether or not this is one I would like as much or more, or no, more than Avatar. Well, I'll say they're equal, and they're just somewhat different. Um, I have very little negatives to say about it. The tiniest of negatives, and that's two of them, and one of them's just my preference of stuff. So what happens here? So just like Hell of a Boss, this is focusing on the realm of hell and a scenario that's a lot different. In Hell of a Boss, there is a group of demons who are mercenaries and take on contract jobs. Random, like I have to go back through that because the first episode I saw, not the pilot episode, the one after, they took a job. Also, lots of spoilers. They took a job from someone who recently passed away and wanted to have vengeance on someone who incurred her death or was part of it. And after that, we never saw much of any other characters that or someone who came from a realm of Earth. I'm throwing in a lot of terms that because I've read a lot of fantasy in my teenage years, so I'm throwing. So there's different realms here. We got heaven, hell, and earth. People they haven't explained anything about how people go to heaven or hell, but they imply a lot. But in the first Hell of a Boss, someone how was I getting on this tangent? Someone came to hell and they contracted with those other people. In this one, we start off with the character who we find out is the daughter of Lucifer. So everyone in there knows about her and everyone knows about Lucifer, but it's like they're like a side thing. This reminds me of how sometimes people think of the royal family that in Britain. So Britain's royal family that's been around for I don't know how many hundreds of years. I'm not good with their history. I like ancient history. The similarity is like, so this is royal family, but they don't really control hell. Hell of a Boss helped flesh this out a little bit too, where there are other gangs and groups of people that control things in hell. And actually, I know what the other tangent was going to be. The other tangent was about how come there are demons in hell, and like, are all of them, were they all once human? The story implies they were, but I think some of those beings there are not. I feel like something's cropped up there, and I'll go into that in a minute. I want to get into this story to help lay this out. We have this princess of hell. She's name is Charlie. She's the daughter of Lucifer, and Lilith, the first human who is from, I think, other Christian mythology type stuff that's not in the Bible. So in the Bible, you got Adam and Eve. Adam's the first human made by God. Eve is made from one of his ribs. But the other story is that before that, Lilith was made, and she's like his equal, but they didn't get along. A lot of stories make out that I've seen that Lilith became like a demon. The only other Lilith version I think of that's been done, and I think is that this is from a video game called Darksiders, where that's also a pretty good heaven hell representation that's somewhat similar to this, but unfortunately it's only the cutscenes and stuff in there are such shorter that there's not as much fleshed out, but some stuff, some of the implications that world building that one have is somewhat, no, not very, somewhat similar to this, and I like that one too. It's one of my favorite game series, really. And Lilith becomes like a demon, and she's like kind of like one of the ultimate demons there, though, up there with Lucifer, which is also funny. That's one of the things I have that is I've seen in all kinds of different fiction representations of hell. What does it take to become a demon? Demons almost always seem to become, I thought, would be some kind of being who was uh, comes up as a sentient being that's not a human soul, usually some kind of subordinate to Lucifer. I think this story does a good job, and there's been some others as well where like it's not that clear cut. Um, Demons could be any kind of other sentient being that did something wrong and ends up being sent to hell. It could be like there could be some kind of mortal or something else. Because see, Lucifer himself is supposed to be an angel, and then he is casted away, and he becomes almost like the first demon. He becomes so vindictive and malicious and stuff that he's cropped out horns and fire and brimstone type stuff. And but you got other ones too, which I'm going to go over. I got way off on a tangent again. I'm going to get back onto the story. Charlie is the daughter of Lucifer and Lilith. She's been living in hell for some. No, they don't really specify. No, I think it did specify a time at one point. She's thousands of years old. She's watching what's going on in hell, and she's seeing the politics of heaven and hell, which are not good, and she wants to change things. She's a very optimistic character, and she's not my favorite character, but she is the heart and soul of this, so I accept that. I just like a lot of the other characters much better. So she has this idea to make a hotel as a location to allow demons who are, or anybody who's in hell. So the implication there is almost everyone in hell are once mortals who died. And this is the best part of like Hazbin Hotel and Hell of Lost. So hell is basically just a one-to-one, to some extent, mirror of Earth, in that it's just become a society. Other versions of hell always just making it out that it's just a giant super prison run by Lucifer to punish souls who didn't go to heaven, and they're supposed to be purgatories. I feel like purgatory could be something I could use later. Hell here is specifically just some place where people go who can't go into heaven, and it's become a literal hellhole where all the people that go there do all the same crimes again, and now everything's been carved up into specific ways. You got low lives, you got ghettos and bad places, and you got gangs and other organized crime going on. Through that all, you still got Lucifer, and Lucifer's there, and you got Charlie. She's his daughter, and she's protected somehow. Like they don't really spell that out, but I feel like okay, wait, she's there, and she's there. She's still this like not jaded. She's untouched. She's still pure. It's funny because she's the in hell, but she must have like basically think of like some kind of monarchy or some kind of president or prime minister whose daughter has become totally untouched and they live forever. It was funny to see how she's like there and not part of all the bad the crime going on there. So she has this idea to create a hotel where she wants people to come in. She has this idea. So this is the thing. This is one of the great parts of the world building overall. There's this idea throughout the story that anyone who goes to hell is done. It's just they're punished. But there's no implication to whether or not that demons that live down there, even the lowest ones, whether or not they can they're there forever. That kind of implies that, but everyone who's there can be killed, and then after that, you don't know where to go. And so I'm gonna reference some other uh afterlives and other stories. So my first reference here would be Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Z with Akira Toriyama. He has this afterlife, and it's a singular area controlled by King Yama. He's like the warden. There's other beings above him, but he's the warden. But he helps decide. They're able to see like all your rap sheet of what you did, and he can decide if you go down or up, so to speak. And if your soul is there, literally is your soul there in that version, much like really this. But if you get destroyed there, you're utterly gone. And I think Hazbin Hotel and the others are kind of implying the same thing. If you get destroyed here, you are essentially never existed. Your cells, everything that makes you you is gone. And I want to bring that back because Charlie wants to um, have salvation for these souls, because we find out what's going on here. The big thing here, let's make part of the central plot, the ticking talk. What I like about this story is they don't use a MacGuffin, although I thought there was going to be. Instead, they do the kind of countdown thing where every year, angels from heaven, like warriors, like a military branch of heaven, comes to hell and cleanses the place. So I'm going to get into that later because I have a few theories about that, and that's also relating to another afterlife. The militaristic angels, the warriors, come to hell and cleanse the place because it's getting too full or something. I don't think they fully explain that, but I have a feeling I have a couple theories on that. So Charlie wants to prevent that by trying to because she has a lot of compassion and love for the people. She sees hell as her home in the best way possible. She knows this place is full of souls that come down there from hell, the mortal realm, and how can we save some of these people? Because basically, what hell has become here, instead of this being a giant prison with Lucifer running it, get more on that later. She is looking at hell has just become a worse version of any kind of bad city areas you could ever think of on Earth. New York, San Francisco, Detroit. I've heard places like that. All these big cities really have bad areas. Hell beats them all by miles, and so you got criminal, organized crime, who like the mobsters. You got sex trafficking, probably human trafficking. I don't think they ever got into that, but you got all the other kind of stuff you can think of, drugs and all that stuff. So Charlie sees all this, and she wants to help them. She wants to prevent this cleansing the angels have to do. That's the first thing that's. I'll get into more of my world building here. Why does this cleansing have to happen? Why isn't it that hell is just a infinite prison of all these people? I think I'm going to go loosely in my theory here. I think there's a finite amount of space that heaven and hell can have, possibly. Well, heaven, I feel like there's a finite amount of space, and I think heaven wants to occupy more of it, so they're cleaning out hell to prevent that. There's some kind of balance issue there that's not explained but implied with that. And so heaven sends warriors there and cleanses the place. So anyways, back to Charlie. She's going to try and fix this stuff. So her and her friend Vaggie, her girlfriend, so they're in an intimate relationship, go into an idea to create the hotel. And so the thing is too, I thought when I started watching this, I thought because she's the daughter of one of the most powerful beings in the universe, she has some actual knowledge of how to send people back and to be saved, but she doesn't. She just wants to try. She has this. This is a very like mortal idea, like, oh, we can just save people, and it's not bad. It's just it's funny that there's this is one of the world building things I'm a little skeptical of like, why hasn't this been tried before? She wants to send people to heaven, and one of the big things is the people of heaven don't want that. There's some kind of there's something behind the scenes there that I feel like the next seasons will elaborate on, where they there's like they know that there is no way to really save people. They see this heaven hell thing still like heaven and hell in our minds is meant to be like this metaphysical thing. Like, well, we can when you go there, those places balance the universe. We that's where you go when you're dead. In this place, heaven and hell is really just these separate places that humans really don't know about. That is not much different, and like they really don't know what happens. They just like, oh, they're trying to keep some kind of balance, but in doing so, they don't know what happens to souls when they're cleansing the hell citizens, for example. Like they're doing it for some reason for something, and they're like, oh, we're just destroying them all because it has to be done. Uh, but anyways, so Charlie and Vaggie start the hotel. Vaggie's kind of at first I thought Vaggie was just her best friend slash bodyguard, and she still is, but she's also in they're intimate. And they start this up, and off screen they get a porn star named Angel Dust. I guess I'm a little confused sometimes on this. Forgive me, but I think yeah, Angel Dust is supposed to be a guy. He's an effeminate guy, and yeah, and they get him to be their first uh wait, what do you call it? Someone in a hotel. Their tenant. I guess you could call it tenant. So they get him off screen, and he's only there because he wants to have free rent. And this guy's part of the big. His character is one of the most important ones because he's contracted with one of these big time demons in the world. I think they call them overlords. There's a hierarchy there, and I think Hell of a Boss went into further that where I think some of the highest hierarchy people under Lucifer are the sins. I think they got one for each of the main cardinal sins. There's seven, the like lust, anger, greed, and gluttony, and stuff like that. But in this place, the overlord. Wait, yeah. Um, Angel is one of the first main characters to go into because uh, he wants to be there, but he's only there to uh, forgive me. This is where I'm going to go off the cuff. He he's only there to have free rent. He doesn't want to pay. He's into drugs and all that stuff, as the reputation of many actual porn stars ends up being, sadly. And he's there to yeah, he's not there to actually like become a better person. But Charlie doesn't care. She was happy to get him, and because she wants to, um, she's very optimistic about anyone's rehabilitation. That's what I was looking for. Um, so in the first episode, we get that. We get the buildup of how she's trying to present it to people, and with the end of that, in that episode, we end up meeting one of the most interesting characters too. So Angel Dust is a great character, but kind of an open book. That's all I'm going to say, not loosely speaking. But we get Alistair. And I'm trying to think what Alistair name. That name comes familiar. I didn't do enough research before this. So Alistair is this very mysterious overlord. I would say he's more than that, but so there's a difficulty with oh wait, I need to look up one thing. Hold on a second. I don't know what's about wait, no. Nope. Uh, no, was it this one? Hold on. There was something. Could I have to go into this more later? But I can't remember a certain term. Wait. No, what happened? Son of a bitch. Just a moment. There's a very important scene I had to find again. I want to go over, but I can't remember certain terminology from it. Which one was it from? This one? No, be quiet, no copyright. Was it this one? It was one of these episodes. What episode was that? I'm looking for an episode involving. Oh, here it is. Oh, found it. Involving Husk and Lucifer. I need to watch this. Hold on. I want to mute just a second. I have. No. Shit, where was I? Okay. Uh, so, Charlie, Alistair. Alistair comes in here. He's this demon overlord that's extremely powerful, very mysterious, and my favorite character. He also, my favorite thing about him is I think they are going for some kind of mythical creature theme. Let's backtrack. His initial theme is this very well spoken character, and he likes radio. He's the radio demon who is uh interested in that broadcast medium, and that's a funny thing because later we find he has one of the other interesting like sub characters as a demon who likes TV, and they're both implied to be human. Well, he definitely is. So there's a thing there too. A little tangent. We got demons here who are beings that appear not to ever been mortal. Lucifer would definitely be one of them. We get some of these other overlords that we imply are demons that have been here for centuries and are not human. They must have been. That's one of the things I've always been pondering about with, and other stories do this as well, is that where do these other entities come from? Are they just born from an ether abyss place and they're become sentient? I like that idea, so I'm gonna go with that one. Or are they mortals or demons or not demons, angels that are become that like Lucifer was? Because you also got like Lilith, who was supposed to be the first human, and now she's like a demon. So Alistair comes in the first episode, and he wants to help, and he presents he becomes almost like this thing that gives Charlie of especially help because he's such a well-known, powerful figure. It's almost like he's the money backer. He doesn't. He can fix things and do. He has powers above and beyond merely like being destructive or anything. He can create and summon other. It appears to summon other demons. Or at first, I thought they were like other entities that he creates himself that have the appearance of demons, and he's there to back what they're doing, and he helps bring in other um staff. So we get the characters of the lovable characters of both who are they? Husk and Nifty, excuse me. And Nifty's probably the best character, and one I really like. And also, she's very mysterious, but also I think I know what they're going for with her. So Husk is a character who is a uh, so a lot of the demons here often are human-like, except for their skin and their teeth and stuff. But Husk is one of the only ones I can think of where no, there's others too. Alistair and there's another I'll bring up. They have a lot of animal qualities. I don't know if that's supposed to just be a motif, meta motif from the animators and story writers, but or more like it's supposed to be specific where some characters, humans, come to hell and become like that because of their specific mentalities. But Husk is some kind of uh, anthropomorphic animal now, and but he has like wings, but I think they're more of a supposed to be like an accessory thing. And Niffy has more of a normal demon look that lots of them have, except she's like a cyclops, or is a cyclops, and she's very short. And so Husk though is the uh, bartender. He's also like this gambler and such, and Nifty is a maid, or has supposed to be the maid, but she's very bad at it. So we get these characters, and these characters become the heart of the plot for a while. First, we start with after we get they're gonna have the how do you put this? Actually, let me put this on a second. Where does that end here? Yeah, okay. So I need a 1 second. I'm kind of nope. I think not. Okay, yeah. So after these characters are established, the rest of the series starts out with a series of like seemingly side events plus main events happening. And this is where it gets more interesting though too. We get with the yeah, we start with Charlie trying to find a way to get more people in. And in that episode, it doesn't really work out well because no one in hell is interested in becoming better. Everyone who's gone there, especially the ones who are more uh, uh, um, influential or powerful. That's another interesting thing. So when, especially with Alistair as a mystery, but the other characters there as well, it's hard. It's interesting to think of how do these characters, these people, us put the people, Matt still saying it's real. These people who are once mortal, how do they gain power as demons? I think the biggest thing comes down to them being, when they were alive as humans, very influential and strong minded. And that allows them to gather power from an unknown source, like unknown sources, things just gathered to them as power, so they gain supernatural power. Like Alistair's the best example of that, where he can like seemingly do almost anything. He seems to have some limitations. The end of the series showed he has some limitations, but he is definitely not your average demon. Even like when he has these other colleagues, we see him and like one other person in there. show extraordinary amounts of power. See, so when power is gained there, a lot of these other characters really just are not much more than like a mobster, mobster leader in the human world, where they just gather followers, they take up territory, they have gang wars, all this stuff with enemies. Alistair and a couple others there, and we got others in Hell of a Boss. They have supernatural powers, where they're think of them like something from Harry Potter or something. They have wizardry, sorcery powers, I should say. So where was I going with this? The um yeah, Charlie wants to start gathering, recruiting people, and she initially can't do that. And each episode shows off some of the other characters having problems and having character development. And at the same time, we start seeing problems as Charlie wants to appeal to others about her dream, and that also creates a problem for the herself. So I think it's in one of the early episodes. She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go talk to people in heaven," and because she's the princess of she's Lucifer's daughter. She can get an audience. So this is an interesting little tangent though to go off on. Lucifer in here is very aloof. He doesn't actually run hell. He's a very creative ancient being who's has some kind of dreams of his own, but he's become reclusive. But he's not like destroyed or anything. It's funny because in the other stories, Lucifer seemed to be as some kind of being who has to be destroyed, but they can't because he's too powerful. The other angels would want to kill him in other versions, but he's too powerful for that. So, but in his ways, he's apparently been exiled, and he created this realm of hell. And I think the implication was he created this place to allow people to have free will, and in Earth it wasn't going to be that way. There was something like that. But back to the main plot for a minute. Charlie gets to have an audience with angels about her dream, and she ends up actually meeting Adam, the first human, who's now dead or now part of heaven, but now he becomes a very powerful being himself. And this is something else interesting. He was once human, and much like some of the demons who go to hell, like Alistair, humans who go to hell, he's gone to heaven and he's become very all powerful. And it's not just influential. He's got actual sorcery powers, especially like just like shooting laser beam type stuff. She meets him and she tries to burn her idea, and he puts it down, and this becomes part of the main plot as far as a not MacGuffin, the other thing, a time clock. For usually the angels come every year to do a cleansing of hell. He cuts it in half. I don't. I think was it because I forget what the motivation was. Just because they were worried about her succeeding. There is something there going on too, where Charlie's dream scares people in heaven from her succeeding. That's one of the big mysteries they're hinting at for the next seasons that I'm sure they want to make. So they cut her timetable in half though, and say, "Nope, you can't do that. We're gonna come down there sooner now." So she has to worry about that. And meanwhile, in that point episode, also her friend Vaggie, or girlfriend Vaggie, wants they make a better commercial to try and get people, and but we start getting more from Alistair too, because as we go into this next first episode, there we find that Alistair. I have to go further into Alistair too. His character is more or less like someone like Jafar from Aladdin, where he's just a scheming advisor who has more power than you think. And my initial thoughts with him was that he wants to usurp Lucifer and possibly others and take over at least hell. And when I say others, maybe he's planning on taking over heaven somehow. He wants to become all powerful. He feels all powerful for the most part. Although there is a caveat there where like he implies one point like I could just come in here and kill you all, but he won't. He knows there's more to gain by not doing things that way. He's like, I want to make a deal. He tries to make a deal with Charlie in the beginning, and he likes to do it with others. And it's implied that he is, no, people know it's a terrible idea to make a deal with him, and probably other characters who are like that. If you make a deal with them with their kind of supernatural sorcery, that you can't back out of it afterward. Actually, that was something in Hell of a Boss, where the Sin name was he. Which one was he supposed to be? He's the one Sin that's been there a lot. I can't think of his name. Um, Actually, wasn't that a character who played Jafar and something? So there's a point though where he is going to make a deal to try and get his friend back, and he's advised, no, if you make a bad deal with these other people, the contractual agreement, like what, you got to be careful yourself making a deal with others, where you could be in the uh where you don't have the advantage in the deal, and it would be unable to pull out of that contractual agreement. So yeah, Alistair in here is trying to make a contractual agreement with uh Charlie. He tried to trick her into one earlier, and she's like, no, 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 this is going to be informal, basically, if you want to help. um so that's actually implied later as we roll into the next episode quickly. To the next episode, we find that we start getting into these other demon overlord who runs electronics consumerism company. I forget his name. He's got the TV look. Him and Alistair are enemies. Who because Alistair likes radio as a broadcast format, and then you got the other guy that wants to do TV, and he's doing other stuff like making drones. And he actually implies in there we can't let Alistair and Charlie make any formal deal. It would be extremely devastating. It made it almost sound like that would be the end of the world type thing. So that guy, what's his name? He actually, he actually does that makes me think. What's his name? Oh yeah, Vox, I think. He actually implied in such a way that I was like, oh my god, would that be the end of the world if Charlie and Alistair had a deal? They make it sound like because Charlie has the blood of her father, that someone could use her. Basically, it's kind of like if you've read ancient history, often when some kind of a dynasty is destroyed by the new power, they still will marry into that family. Some daughter of someone who's part of that royalty will be married by the new people to make some kind of legitimacy. It feels like that Vox was implying that you can't let we can't let Alistair and Charlie have a deal because that will just create some kind of new dynasty that could utterly destroy every other overlord's control over hell. And Vox and his group are particular being propped up as enemies for the next story, the story going forward, because they want to basically take over hell in some ways. And you got all these other little groups and stuff, but none of them are. Well, most of them are being shown as to be like basically not as much of a threat. Most of these other overlords care to have like be fine with carving out their own little empire. And one of the big things with them is they're just excuse me with them is they're just worried about this extermination problem. That's a big caveat to the to do a little tangent on. At this point, until the end of this season, fighting the angels is apparently a what's the word? You can't do it. It's a foregone conclusion. There's no way to defeat them. They're undefeatable. And we don't know if that's because of like armor or whatever or something else. But later on, they find a way. And spoilers, it's the weapons the angels use themselves. Some kind of special material is also their weakness. So these other overlords, though, earlier on are like, okay, well, they meet every now and then together and have this little oligarchy meeting where like, hey, well, let's get together. We don't like each other, but let's have some peace and talk. And then they are worried about the extermination stuff and how to protect themselves and their family or their what they've gathered as empires. Shit. So where was I with that? So yeah, there's this guy named Vox, and he becomes one of the main enemies that that's gonna be a problem later. So what's the next one? Yeah. So wait a minute here. So as that happens, yeah. So as that happens, we get wait, I lost my linear where I was going linearly wise. Hold on. Okay. So as we progress through those episodes, we also get a lot of character moments with, especially Angel Dust, the the effeminate man, whatever he is, in there, and we get him and the other characters. We start expanding upon them as well, and what slowly starts happening is we get these great moments where these whole little ragtag groups of characters start coming together. So we have Charlie, Vaggie, Husk, Nifty, Angel Dust, Alistair, and eventually we also get this guy named Serpentius, who's one of these other animalistic demons who are animals, and he's like a cobra. He's one of my favorite characters too because they play him out as this very intelligent but also fumbling genius. He's very much like Doofus Merch from Phineas and Ferb. He wants to. We see him in the pilot fighting with this other character named Cherry Bomb. They're like these slightly lesser, like they're not as high as these overlords, but they're less. They have control other territories. They're more like the Backstreet Gang bosses. You know, the other overlords are like these really improper mob bosses who are very dressed well and live in fancy places. Cherry Bomb and Pentius seem to be more like these slightly different dangerous people. But Pentius is a very bumbling fool who he's him he what happened? Him and he's fighting against Cherry Bomb in the pilot, and then Angel Dust is helping Cherry Bomb because they're friends. And Pentius has like a big uh those balloon what's the word they called? Uh shit. uh 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 now I can't think of the word. Let me just look it up. All right, what's he got? I'm gonna do a lot of editing with this one. I can't think of the word. The noun. He's got one of those ships. The All right, whatever. Give me a second here. Great. I can't fucking think of the name. Come on. No. Google. You fucking shit, Google. Come on. I don't want images. What's it called? Give me a second. I fucking hate when Google does this. I don't want the images. I want you. Blimps. Fucking blimp. God damn it. Fucking seriously? Yes, Serpentius has a blimp. I was trying to look up that word. It's sometimes Google just does not get that right. Serpentius has this blimp, and he has these cute little minions that look like eggs. They're sentient little eggs, and he does these fights and stuff. And he's fighting a gang war with Cherry Bomb in the first episode, the pilot episode, and then he tries to go after Alistair in one of the early episodes. I think it was the second, and he's utterly destroyed by Alistair. And that was a good example where he got to see Alistair's weird demonic offensive powers, and he is he does a deal with that television demon named Vox to try and do some snooping, and he fails, but becomes one of the new residents. So he becomes part of the main cast throughout the rest of the series, and he's one of the most important characters at the end. And I'll get to that. He's so cute. He's one of those lovable characters that are supposed. He's one of those characters where he's the bumbling bad guy. You're supposed to hate him. He's dangerous at first, but he becomes a good guy. Good guy, very much like Doofenshmirtz again. And so he becomes part of the story later on. But so he's kind of in the background for the rest of the series until the end, though. And then from that point, we move on more with Angel Dusk, and uh, as Charlie's trying to figure out more things to help people. She's trying to like in the like toward the mid-season part, we get parts where Charlie's trying to have everyone do group activities, and with Angel Dust and Pentius and Nifty and everyone, and Husk, these other people who are some of the staff and some are residents. So yeah, early on, Pentius and Angel Dust are really the only staff, and then you got Husk and Nifty who are Husk and Nifty who are staff. Pentius and Angelus are the only uh, um, residents, and you got Vaggie and Alistair. So as the story goes on, there we get a lot of more of these character moments with Angel Dust and Husk actually become like almost a thing. I see a lot of people shipping them now. So at one point we find out Angel Dust works for this guy, and I forgot his name now, and he works for Vox, and Angel Dust does adult film industry stuff, and him and Husk have a great moment where they bond together. As we find out, Husk was a overlord who has created a deal with Alistair, actually. So that's one thing. I think I didn't say this earlier, but Alistair no, I did. That he brought in Husk and Nifty as like they're like his servants. They're indebted to him because they made deals with him. And Husk, we found out, especially did something. Or he was in some kind of debt and made a deal with Alistair. And now he's tethered. And that's the thing later we see with certain magic. There's sorcery that where once you're indebted, they have these green chains and this green energy, and that's important with Alistair later. Husk and Angel does have this great moment where they start bonding together because they both are falling down the deep end of getting in debt and indebted to people they don't want to be with. As what's his name? There's that one character. Let me see. We get his name. Uh, Whatever. There's another guy in there. I can't find his name now. He runs he's kind of a high level executive within Vox's industry, and he does these adult film stuff. And that guy has Angel Dust as his subordinate, and is like a contract thing where Angel Dust can't get out. I don't think it's quite the same like demon deal thing that we saw, but it's there, and that's probably going to be something later on as Vox and Alistair's rivalry is going to heat up. Angel Dust is trying to get away from that being contractually part of that. So him and Husk bond together there, and so we have that. We have Penius. Penius has this moment where he actually starts becoming interested in his rival Cherry Bomb, who shows up toward the end. She's not throughout most of this. She pops up here and there. I feel like she'll be someone that'll show up later. So he has a thing with that, but mostly he's just kind of this in the background until the end. He's an important character, but he doesn't get a lot of screen time overall either. But he's still a great character. I love him. I want to know who that voice actor is. He's one of my favorites. So after that, we move on to what happens next. Let me see. Now my brain's. Okay, yeah. So from that point on, oh yeah, there is a subplot here I forgot to do. I have to bring up this point where this other overlord, I don't have her name right here, but she's at this Spaniard speaking woman, I think. And one of the subplots we find out is that there is a way to defeat demons. She figured out how to do it. This Owen Overlord, and she helps us at the end with figuring it out. But she found it out, and then Adam, coming back to Adam and his one, I think his subordinate name is Lut, and Adam at this point runs the military branch of heaven, and he's the one who always runs the extermination stuff. They are so the overlords are looking for a way to fight back, and this one overlord, I don't have her name. I'll have to put it in this in post. She wants to fight back, but she's not sure if she can because she's worried about her own daughters. She's planning on that. Adam's planning on. Adam was the one who made the countdown change from 1 year to 6 months. That was came in the beginning, and so we get that stuff. And then at the halfway point here, we actually get to meet Lucifer. He and something too. This is something of component. Yeah, I think Charlie still seems to look up to her mom, but as we find out, her mom isn't seems very aloof and indifferent, and perhaps even siding with heaven in this tug of war going on. But Lucifer comes. He tours her hotel, and as the plot's progressing, we meet. He is able to get her. He gets Charlie, and he requests an audience with these other people above Adam. So earlier on, she talked with Adam and Lut about and presented her stuff, and Lucifer gets her an audience with these people above him, kind of above him. They're more like this judiciary bureaucracy stuff. And also, by the way, Adam's the biggest douche character in here, and this is one critique I have. He's designed initially very similar to a demon character that's in Hell of a Boss, and I thought that was slightly lame. It makes him more of a douche, but he is still actually like a human look, and we'll see that. We see that at the end. But I didn't like his design because he's got a halo and he's got this white clothing and lights, but he looks like that one other character who I'll put it up here afterward, who's from the other thing. That's like the only real critique I have was his design, his initial design. So Adam's a big douche in here. He's always talking about, oh, I'm the man. Everyone should look up to me. I was the first human God made. So everyone should, do things for me. Anyways, Charlie gets an audience with these people above him, kind of above them. They're kind of adjacent. They're like a bureaucracy again, and she's unable to convince them. She tries to provide good evidence. Hey, these people I have like Husk and Angel Dust, especially Angel Dust she's using, are improving, but it doesn't work. Although there was another character in there that was part of, like an assistant to this other bureaucrat woman who has hope that there is a way to do it. And I think she'll become an ally later. So that doesn't work. And we start the final 2 or 3 episodes move on to the countdown to the extermination. And this is what I was watching this morning, so forgive me. I'm kind of just going over the plot now, but this is where it got really good. So Alistair starts initiating this plan to get some allies, and at that point too, I think his main plot at first seems to be just, I want to advise Charlie. He wants to I think have Charlie. I thought earlier he wants to take over Hell, and I still think he kind of does. But his plan right now is to be an advisor to Charlie, have her kind of gain more demon power, but he's kind of going like the Emperor in the Star Wars thing. But in this case, he's gonna kind of still stay in the background, and well, that could be the same thing still. He's kind of like the Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars, and he's having Charlie. Charlie's his Anakin, and he's trying to raise her up, but he's probably trying to use her too. That's a lot of theories we could have over that all day. But and toward the end here, what he does is get Charlie to convince his other community of demons, these cannibals or something, to gain an army that will help defend. That's it. The angels are planning on attacking, destroying her and her hotel first to set an example. And so Charlie has to get this army, and Alistair knows they need an army and says, "Hey, let's get these people." And this is where he really helps her. Like he does help her become Alistair, and I think is going to be trying to just use Charlie, and he's also inadvertently making her a better leader. This episode toward the end, where he helps her and this other woman who's the leader of this community convince the other people to join Charlie's army to fight back. And while that's happening, her friend Vaggie talks to that other gal, the other overlord, and then they find out about the weapons of the angelic weapons are the things that can hurt angels, and they all form together and start getting a plan together. And the other characters like Husk and Angel Dust start. By this point, this is like 6 months into the story, because at the beginning there was a 6-month timeline. This is right near the end now. All the other characters have joined up together, and they formed a family. This point is very much like One Piece, where all these characters who are none of them are blood related all are close together now. So Vaggie and Charlie are a couple already, obviously. You got Husk, Angel Dust, Nifty, and who was the other one? Oh, Pentius are all come on. Yeah. They've all become like a family, and they all join up, say, yeah, we're gonna stay here. Charlie, we believe in you and fight, and we're gonna fight for you. And this is where also Serpentius is this inventor guy with all these, like, he seems to have like these resources somehow to himself. He has no like demonic sorcery powers, but he's like very smart and can create machines. And there's the one overlord I was mentioning who found out about how to kill demons. She sells weapons, and he buys stuff from her. He got like money somehow to buy that. He buys artillery and stuff like that. So he's clever that way. You know, he's still kind of a buffoon. And they all prepared to defend the hotel. And the final episode is awesome. This is the stuff of like being like a Lord of the Rings, an Avatar, anything you want to find that's really good ending with action. The last episode, which is only like 20 something minutes, fucking nails it. Everyone's fighting together. Everyone's kicking ass. Alistair. The only thing I found was, so Alistair fights Adam at first. Adam's the big bad in this one. The other bureaucrat woman I mentioned will probably come up later. Adam's the big bad. He's leading this stuff. Him and Alistair had a great fight, and I was really hoping for Alistair to win. You ever have that feeling where you see this, you have different bad guys, but you want the douchebag one to die first, and it's satisfying, even if it is the one you know is probably the ultimate villain. So Alistair's like the Jafar, but he's going to kill this snooty prince guy. So imagine that one bad prince who wanted to marry Jasmine, and he becomes a bad guy. If Jafar killed that guy, I wouldn't feel sorry for that guy. Well, maybe he got tortured and stuff. I hate seeing that. I want to see Alistair crush Adam. Unfortunately, Adam gets a drop on him at the end, because he's got like, it's like this light versus dark thing, and it's like if you're not careful, one can defeat the other, and Alistair loses the fight and retreats. Meanwhile, the others are doing really well in defending the place, and it starts becoming bad, so much so, and then that Sir Pentius gives up his life to save the people, because you could tell he's got that kind of mentality where you think he's was abandoned by his family, his parents or something, and he grew up on. So yeah, there's one of those character archetypes where they're orphaned and they're very clever and smart, and they become they make their own family, but they when they become part of the family, they're like, yes, this is my family, and I'm willing to sacrifice myself. Pentheus does that, and he dies. He dies. I'll get to that in the end. But eventually, what happens here to get to this is Lucifer comes in and helps. He's realizing he's been basically Lucifer. This is Lucifer's probably gonna have a character arc later, but his character arc here was he's been shunning himself. Oh shoot, hold on. Okay, the ending. Wait, gotta wrap this up now. So hello, hello. So the ending of this, it comes as great epic battle, as I just said, with Adam being the main guy. And we find out too, Adam does look like a human. I think I mentioned this earlier. But he had this demonic look to him earlier, which is a weird facade. And some of the other angel warriors have this as well. And I was a little confused because I would think they'd want to look completely different. But they had this look to like demons. Thank you, Dottie. Please, oh, you know what I gotta say? Please give a like and try to share the video if you do. I'm, as you see how small I am. I thank you all who've subscribed to me though this past month. I've gained like a dozen of you guys subscribing to my video in the past month. This is amazing because I started this years ago, and I didn't know it was gonna grow this slowly. I gotta get into the grind though. I've been improving myself, and I'm happy to hear more of your comments. So thank you for your comments. Give me your critiques as well, of course. I'm always happy to hear any critiques. I want to keep improving myself. So I hope you appreciate this. Also, I'll be re-uploading this video separately, so if you want to like or share that video once I redo it, it'll probably be tomorrow morning sometime. But thank you. So, where was I? This, Adam here, we end up getting a really cool battle with Adam and Lucifer of all people, which I don't know why I should have expected, but I didn't. Wait, where was it with that? Yeah. So Adam, yeah, this thing has a character arc here for Lucifer as well, where he comes out of his reclusiveness. And also, I gotta go into that. So we get a hint of this, and I think this is gonna kind of be, looks like it's gonna come back later. Lucifer and Lilith, we get this little, really, this is my favorite animated part of this too. Oh, tangent there too. I am slightly turned off with this animation of this first season compared to the pilot. There's a certain glossiness to it that I like and don't like. I kind of like how it looked earlier, the pilot episode, and the first season of Hell of a Boss was like that too, without the glossiness. I kind of like that more. I don't know. It looks good and bad to me. I don't know why. It's I'm kind of old school, I think, that way. Okay, back to Lucifer and Lilith. We get this really good animated thing about Lucifer and Lilith, and how Lilith left Adam because he wanted to be dominant in their relationship, and she wanted some kind of equality. And Lucifer and her became a couple because they both have these ideas of equality and or something with free will. But apparently they broke up too, because we only find out how we see one scene where Lucifer's in this workshop, and we see he's still in. Lilith and little Charlie visit him, and we never see much of Lilith, and I'll get into that later. And then Lilith, it's like it implies that Lilith and him broke up too for some reason. But this became a better growth for Lucifer as he starts believing in Charlie's dream. So we get this idea that Lucifer became reclusive because he helped create hell or something, and he wanted maybe to be a second society that was adjacent to heaven. Earth, and maybe a better version. But it's become just the hellhole of the people who can't go to heaven, and this has made him shamed of that he failed. But Charlie is trying to help him with the redemption stuff. But I think she's basically following his dream and saying, I will do what you did and make a better society. But, well, her way of doing it is like sending people to heaven. Like, heaven is where they should go, because the thing is, too, is does that mean that hell is only for people to stay there forever? That isn't quite clear. Definitely they're going to be punished. It's not the same as heaven somehow. It almost makes me think that heaven must be, I don't know, other people said hi, Brandon. So I'm sorry. It implies that heaven somehow is better, like maybe it's better enforced to keep things, no litter on the streets. Everyone gets along, no death. Down in hell, everyone's banging each other, killing each other. Organized crime is worse than it is in any city you could imagine on Earth. And all that stuff made Lucifer become reclusive and he doesn't know how to create. It's almost like it seems like Lucifer has powers, but he doesn't know how to create with them anymore. He doesn't know how to fix things until Charlie's trying to implore him and inspire him to become better, which he is what I'm trying to get at. He gets to a bit toward the end. So I hope to see more of him in the next season as like a resident in the hotel. Although I'm also like thinking, how much will him and Alistair keep jabbing at each other? There's a great one of my favorite moments is him and Alistair meet each other and they look very different, but they're both and Alistair's super tall, and even Charlie's taller than her father. But Lucifer still has an imposing look, and I like both Alistair and Lucifer's look. Like Alistair is very like refined. He's very tall and thin. He's got that very tall, thin 18th century look. Well, Lucifer's kind of like that too, but he's much shorter and he's got the white look, and Alistair's red. And he's got these things going on, and they have this exchange where Alistair really wants to jab at Lucifer, and Lucifer, he won't take that without saying something back. And that's what was making me think there. Alistair wants to take over Lucifer's job someday, but I think that would be the only thing I would be worried about with Lucifer staying in the hotel is him and Alistair might jab too much. So I think the story that would be more realistic. I think the story would find a way to not have that happen too much. Come on. So yeah, the story. Let's get to the end. So Lucifer and Adam have this big fight, and Lucifer easily overpowers Adam. We had this little build up where Alistair fights Adam. He does pretty well, but he ends up losing. Then Charlie starts Sir Pentius, he has his best moment. He didn't get a lot of screen time throughout. He was especially in the pilot and I think the second episode, but he sacrifices himself to help the others when things are going bad. And so we have that, and we have then Charlie is inspired by his sacrifice to fight back, and she starts having these powers come out, her demonicness. She's that I feel like she could have used more of that from the beginning, but she's kind of a pacifist, basically. She wants to help people through kindness and love, and I'm hoping to see more of that later. So she fights Adam for a bit, but she's not, because she's new to this power. They don't do the Super Saiyan type thing where she overpowers him, but that allows Lucifer to come in and kick Adam's ass, and but ends up happening because of Charlie's kindness. She says to her dad, "No, don't kill him." But then what's her name? Adam does end up dying, and I wasn't expecting it at first, but it's the little maid Nifty ends up stabbing Adam to death. But this becomes like the impetus to the next season. So Adam, when Adam is dead, Lucifer convinces the others to retreat, and then without Adam, because the others with their weapons and their skills were doing pretty good in fending off the horde of angels. So the second in command, I think her name is Lut. She Lut. She makes the others retreat, and things are ending. We end on a high note there. We've won. Lucifer and Charlie are kind of like, we're going to spend time together now. And the hotel got destroyed, but they rebuild it. But we get a great ending here. This is where like the excuse me a sec. This is where like the high fantasy, the great thing. This is the story stuff. We see a second season is going to come, because what Charlie's doing, heaven is apparently afraid of. Her repenting demons is not what they want. They one second. They want to. I was going on this theory earlier about a finite universe. I think that heaven is worried hell will. No, that's not the right way to say it either. I was thinking earlier, heaven has so many people, good people coming there, that they're worried hell will take up space. They're definitely worried about something with people being able to be redeemed. That's the core of it that we can see. There's like, okay, these people can be redeemed. This isn't good. This is gonna shake the balance of power somehow. It's almost like they're worried that Lucifer and Charlie will gain not physical power, tangible power. It's like it's how do I put this? It's like when you do a good job with something, you gain a better reputation. And heaven is worried that Lucifer and Charlie can redeem people. They're not the bad guys anymore. They want to have a bad guy, so to speak. Hell is supposed to be this bad guy, and they're like, we can't have this happen. We can't have souls being redeemed. By the way, Pentius, we thought he died. He was starting to become such a better character. He is the first success of Charlie, and he gets sent to hell. It's really cute too. He goes up there, and we got that other girl the little girl, not little girl, I forget her name. She's the one who I mentioned earlier, believes in Charlie's uh, optimism. She sees him and she realizes Charlie's right. So uh, I there's something definitely going on. This is my favorite thing I've been trying to theorize over is what is hell worried about? Heaven worried about? Uh, yeah, I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. That's the thing I'm trying to get to, but I wanted to get to the plot a little bit. I wanted to bring that up at the end. Here, Harun, excuse me. Yes, there's something going on though with heaven where they're worried about hell gaining some prominence or something like that. It's very interesting. And I'm really trying to think of a meta stuff because I've read so much other fantasy. What could they be worried about hell gaining? Wouldn't they want other people to repent? There's clearly some negative that's going to happen if more people repent and go to heaven. And I'm when I figure out a theory on it, I'm going to make another video because I like discussing that kind of meta. What happens when two intangible good evil forces that really aren't have that imbalance of power? Uh, Maybe. That's a good point. Uh, so just finish off the plot. We get the ending where that girl named Lute, the second in command of the military branch, we find out Lilith is living in heaven, kicking back on a beach, drinking cocktails or something, and it sounded like she had a deal with Adam. That I think what that meant. So someone else had a theory. I had a couple of theories I saw that was really good. No, someone who made a reaction video. I think the deal was the way I understood this. I think Lilith doesn't want anything to do with Charlie or Lucifer, but she didn't want them dead. She had, I think, her deal with Adam was like, I'll let you go down. I don't care if you go down there and exterminate other demons. Leave my husband or ex-husband and daughter alone. I think that's out of the way now. I think that Lute is implying that we gotta kill your daughter and Lucifer because this is gonna cause that imbalance of some sort, and that's where we end it with. Meanwhile, too, the Lucifer and the other people rebuild the hotel, so they've. I don't think they showed if Charlie knew. Yeah, they probably didn't yet. That Charlie knows yet that Pentis made it to heaven, but I'm sure they will. Because she's gonna have that optimism anyways. So we end with that stuff happening, and our characters have become even a better family. Uh, and I I feel like Nifty too will get like a if this was like One Piece or something. I feel like Nifty, the little Cyclops maid girl, is gonna get a wanted poster in heaven because she's the one who killed Adam. Also, how the hell did Adam get powers? So that's the end of the plot point stuff. But back to your stuff. Yes. So something is mysterious going on here, and I was alone. I'm always both like and annoyed how they did this. This is more spoilers. Husk knows something about Alistair. He made a deal with Alistair because Husk used to be an overlord. He got in deep because he was a gambler and he was losing his something. He was going to lose him, be indebted to someone else probably. He made a deal with Alistair to keep his abilities, but he's really not a overlord anymore. Because I was thinking too, there was this meeting with the overlords, and Alistair joins it, and he's talking to this other guy, that other snake-like one, and I was thinking, what? I wonder if Husk was part of this meetings decades ago or something. But Husk hints in one of the later episodes. He knows that Alistair has a deal. Actually, they bring up too. He knows that Alistair has a deal with someone else. So Alistair is subservient to someone else and wants to be freed of that. So whoever that is, the main thing I'm noticing is I think that other person wants something from Charlie or Lucifer, and he or she is using Alistair to do it. We get a hint too from that earlier with this other overlord, that other cobra looking one with the green and black. He made a little hint. Oh, there were rumors because Alistair disappeared for a while. There were even rumors that you had ties with unholy something. I forgot how he phrased it, but and Alistair just shrugs it off. But there's something going on there, and Husk found out about it. And he confronts Alistair later. I think he was kind of threatening to tell Charlie, but Alistair's like stopped him. Alistair has something going on. And actually, my favorite theory is I was watching a lady who did reactions to it, and she thought maybe, what if it's Eve, the second wife of Adam? Actually, wasn't there a line too? I think she pointed out. I think there was a second line where it was hinted at that Lucifer had a relationship with Eve as well. And we never hear anything else about Eve. But I do kind of like that theory given by what's her name? I want to give credit where credit's due here. Wait a minute, let me find her. Let me find her. Oh yeah, I am Zambar. I'm gonna put her channel in the chat after thing after when I upload this video. She had a theory I like where it could be Eve, who is the other powerful figure who has Alistair on a leash. Another side thing with that too is where's God in all this? We've seen Lucifer, we saw about Adam, and we don't know anything about Eve. We know Lilith is here. We have this other bureaucracy, judiciary branch, and the military branch of heaven that are running things, and they're worried about hell. Never hear anything about God. They always keep that in stuff. I was watching that one TV series I think called Preacher, and God's missing in that one, and they're looking for him. They always keep God back like that. I like that. I've read other stuff kind of like that too, where there's like, no, the God's gone, and where is he or she? It could be a she, and I don't mind either way. I would rather God be kind of non-gendered in a way, and I don't know how they could portray that, but the God wasn't in here basically. So what's going on with that? So the main thing that this ends with is like, yeah, there's something. Everyone basically must have been like, throwing off Charlie's plan, the people in heaven, because they know this would cause a problem, but they didn't want like why didn't they just say so? It's almost like they were afraid to tell her the truth. It's almost like they're afraid of her. And when I think about it, it's like, can she ascend? Her, or like, and Lucifer, I guess, could too. If she could ascend with her lineage and her purity, ascend to become more omnipotent, they're definitely worried about some kind of balance there, and I think they're worried about Charlie now that I think about it. So you have that going on, and so basically what I want to talk about this all for is because of that kind of well-written story. This whole high fantasy similar things. Oh, it just starts out, they're just gonna start with this girl who wants to fix things in hell. No, there's a bigger picture going on. I love that. I love that they sprinkled it in really well too. They had you have these. You start with Adam. They threw us Adam right away though. I was a little surprised he came in sooner, but okay, it was interesting. I would love to have seen his conversation with Lucifer early on when they're talking, because Charlie went in place of her dad to talk to Adam to see how that would have went. But then you have these other characters. They all seem to be trying to deter Charlie from doing this because they like the status quo as it is. I like that this expanded upon these overlords who are like just mobsters of sorts that each control different parts of hell and uh, want things to stay the same too, but then they're worried about what heaven does. That's gonna come in later because we know that the Vox guy and the other one, his guy, that other guy that's with who likes angel dust, the one with the big coat. They're trying to take over hell. That was a neat point too. They had that big meeting of the overlords, and this other woman who works with Vox goes in there and she's throwing insults and everything at these overlords who have been there for centuries and saying, "Oh, you guys are basically all crusty, and all crusty overlords, and it's time for a new leadership." That's definitely going to be in play later on. So I guess that's about it. I just really loved this and how well the story was. The only other thing I had to say is that I find some of the songs hit or miss. The only one I liked a lot was in episode 4 with Keith David, who plays Husk's his song about I think it's called "Loser Baby." And the other guy that plays Angel Dust is good, but I like deep voiced singers and songs like that. So Keith David's thing, I've been repeating it for 2 days straight now, and it's stuck on my head. That song is an S tier ranking thing, and everything else is pretty good. But it's just that it can't. Everything else is well written and sung in that. But I'm the kind of person that even if a song I can appreciate is good, the only song I'm gonna say I really like is one that is stuck in my head, and that's the only one off the top of my head that sits that way. And as far as the voice acting overall, can't make any complaints there. I think my favorite other one would be Nifty. Her character with that little eccentric voice was great. Charlie's great. Oh, I forgot to mention too, Vaggie is revealed to be a former angel. So there's someone question too. Vaggie is an angel warrior who used to be part of the extermination stuff in hell, who left and so that does mean that other entities can live in hell without being a demon? Does that mean angels can demons live in hell too? Can they just transfer through those? They had like the thing you cut through in like reality, a thing. I can't think of what word they'd call it, that go back and forth. So she's an angel who's now in hell and living with her and Charlie are doing it. She's one of the characters I like her attitude, but she's not interesting to me. So I like her and I don't care at the same time. It's gonna sound weird, but like I like characters like Nifty and Pentius, very eccentric, silly characters. And then Alistair's kind of like that too. He makes me laugh, and I almost want to cosplay as him. But I think I'm gonna leave this video for here. I'm running out of voice and I need water. And I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll re-upload this and I'll probably add some stuff cause I couldn't think of things I wanted to put in little pictures in that. I think I'm gonna now I gotta. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end the video here, and I gotta go. I want to get some stuff done and play Persona 3. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you don't mind all my rambling. And as I said earlier, any critiques and or praise is both appreciated. And I hope you have a wonderful